Welcome to As Above.
So below.
I am Kisha Lee, the Psychic Yogi.
And I am Cidnee Rich, and this is the full moon in Aquarius meditation and cosmic chat energy read with Arcana. It's a blue moon. And so what we learned this year, y'all, because we've had a few blue moons, is that blue just means rare. And so if it's a rare moon occurrence, then it is a blue. So this one's called a blue moon because it's the fourth summer full moon. And so therefore, we usually only have three full moons in a season, and this is the fourth one. So that's pretty cool. And then it is also a super moon. So when you see it in the sky, it's going to look bigger and brighter and closer. So that's what that means. And it is the Native Americans refer to it as the Sturgeon moon, because the sturgeon fish are in all their glory in the rivers during this time. So there's an influx of them during this season, and that's where that name comes from. There's a few other names as well, like the harvest moon just came to mind. I think there might be I don't know. I'm not going to lie about anything else because I don't know off the top. I'm going to lean into my Aquarius. If I don't know, I'm not going to say. Okay. And then where am I with that? Okay, cool. Yeah. So it's Leo season. So we have the Aquarius moon, obviously, and it is marred with lots of astrological things going on. So what's happening is a lot in our outer planets. So the bigger planets, so Uranus, Jupiter, Saturn. So you may not specifically feel them in your personal life. Not necessarily supposed to. You could. But in general, it's a shift. A shift is happening for the collective, for the world, and that's very Aquarius. Okay, so as we all know, Aquarius is the humanitarian of the zodiac. And it is opposing that Leo energy of the me, right? They kind of work together in that sense. It's like the Leo can't shine and show up to an empty audience. You know, who are they going to be theatrical to? They got to have somebody. So the Aquarius energy is the audience, is the people. Okay. Power to the people vibes. And that is what this moon, I feel like, is ushering in. It's showing us with the full moon, with its full illumination, the power of the people and of our desire to move forward. Okay. It's future oriented. So we're in this space, and I feel like this full moon is illuminating the fact that we can move forward and we can have a different type of experience on a day-to-day and as a world. We don't have to be stuck in the same. We don't have to listen to the old rules, the old guard. And there comes times in, over history, we look back where you have these big shifts that happen. And it's because the people say no more. The people are like, I'm not getting down with that. I don't like it. It doesn't resonate with me. I want this. I feel this way. My friends feel this way. My family feels this way. And so that's what I feel like is happening genuinely with the collective right now. And this moon is the beginning of that. And it's kind of releasing the past. It's releasing the old energy and allowing us to really have this don't let me cross my fingers, but to have a little hope, right? The star card in tarot comes out because it's about having faith and hope that the future is brighter than where you are and where you've been. And so it's this idea that the path ahead of you is illuminated with the way forward and with the healing that was needed to get there, right? We had to get through all of this stuff, all of this icky energy, all of these kind of moments of hopelessness to get to a place where we can feel empowered and excited about what's to come. That's why the tower comes before the star in the tarot. The tower breaks everything up. It ruins everything. It shakes everything up. It creates action so that you can finally get to a place where you're back in alignment. So the star energy, Aquarius energy, is about being in alignment and being true to yourself in that journey. And in order to get to that space of authenticity and truth, a lot of times you've got to break up the foundation that you started with. It wasn't working, or it was maybe energy that of how you used to be, or what you thought you were supposed to be, or how you used to act, or what you used to believe. And so it's this, you got to break that up in order for you to find yourself within, and then centering that self, you can find your path. And a lot of times that path isn't separate from others. It may be different. It may be a different course, or it may be in a different manner that you are traveling on your journey, but we're all trying to improve. We're all trying to be our true selves, the best versions of ourselves, and to continue to grow, and to in turn help others. As we help ourselves, we help the people around us. We help our family, we help our friends. And then from there, we can help the community, which is also that aspect of Aquarius energy. Like I was speaking about the audience, right? And so I wrote down community over everything when I was talking to Kisha, because I think, and you see it in the discourse online with your conversations with the homies. It's like people have been using that concept of community a lot more, because we're realizing that we can't do anything by ourselves. And honestly, we don't want to do anything by ourselves. If you're doing something by yourself, like, okay, like that's not very exciting. Like, it's maybe calming and like peaceful, but it's also like, cool, there's like no one to talk to about this. There's no one to share in my joy and my excitement and my revelation of myself. Like, we need each other. And so I hope that this new moon, or excuse me, this full moon is bringing in a new future for us. And I'll just speak on it a little bit, because I find it very weird that today is the first day of the Democratic National Convention. And it's the first time ever that we have a Black woman that is running for president. And it happened in the most unconventional, Uranus way ever. Came out of nowhere. No one was expecting it. And then boom, here we are. And we can start to see the future right in front of us. And so it's up to the people, it's up to us, the collective, to go out, to support, to take action, to keep us on this path, because we already know what the past looks like, right? And so the whole mantra of we're not going back, that's this moon right here. I love that little chant. Y'all know I love politics. So excuse me if you could care less, but we all are a part of it, and it is all part of our future. So hopefully this gives you a little, get on board. But when they're at those, when she's doing our rallies and she goes into that, we're not going back. We're not going back. And then everyone's like chanting, and I'm like, yes. It's like, that's the excitement of this energy. I feel like we're at this culmination point where we're like, we're not going back, whether that's on the collective scale or for you individually, with how, old patterns, old friendships, old jobs, old beliefs, like we're moving forward. And it's exciting because it's healing. It's healing to finally feel like things are improving. And then we don't have to feel like we're so stuck and everything's just the same. That's cynicism. And cynicism is the detriment to the community, because if no one has any faith, then nothing gets healed, nothing gets better, because well, it hasn't happened before, so okay, well, let's make it happen now. You know what I mean? So I like this moon because I feel like it's giving us that faith of like the future, and the star, it's that North Star. Keep your eye on what is in front of us, not what's behind us, and have that hope that things can change. And oh, that's wild. So the star and the tower are literally right together on the bottom of my deck when I picked it up. That's crazy. And so just in that depiction, the tower is this energy that we've been in for a minute. And I'm going to bring this back to one of the conjunction, or one of the astrological things that are happening today. So Jupiter is in Gemini and Saturn is in Pisces, and they had a conjunction, Jupiter and Saturn, back in December 2020, when literally the world was looking like this, right? We didn't know what was going on. So we're revisiting that kind of collaboration today in a square, which means you have this old energy trying its damnedest to keep us there, but but we're trying our best to grow out of it. So Saturn is that restrictor and Jupiter is the expander. So you have this tug of war going on with these two signs. And what's helpful though is it's in immutable energy. So Pisces and Gemini, it's changeable. So that's what we need in order for actual change to happen. We need to be in mutable energy for the change to take place. So you have these really big planets that can actually shift things in energy that's malleable, so we can get the change that we've been working so hard for since like the end of 2020. And so this moon being connected to that square of Jupiter and Saturn is really indicative of where we're going, because Saturn also rules Aquarius. So it's about the future, and it being in Pisces, it's about making our dreams a reality. And so with Jupiter being in Gemini, it's asking us to be curious about what can happen, what can be, and get out of this mindset of stagnation. And this is just how it's been, so this is how it's going to be. So this square is, I think, super supportive of that energy. We also have the moon and the sun squaring Uranus. And so Uranus is in Taurus. Taurus is all about, tangible things, how we are experiencing the things that we enjoy or don't enjoy in a very physical way. And with Uranus being the planet of the unexpected, which is also what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, it's the current or the modern. So it's the modern ruler of Aquarius, where Saturn was the original ruler. So these are both Aquarian energies acting on these bigger planets. So pushing us forward. And Taurus is like, okay, let's make it real. So the surprises that we are experiencing are real. They're not figurative. They're not maybe. They're like, no. The unexpected is here in your face, palpable. We can touch it. We can feel it. It's happening. And those squares are squaring the sun, which has to do with obviously our personality, the ego, how we show up, what we care about, like what we're passionate about. What it also has that creative energy of like, okay, well, let's think differently, or let's act on those creative ideas. And then you have the moon in Aquarius, which is also very outside the box, being that they're sister signs, right? But they're outside the box in a different way. It's like, you know what, Leo, let's get real weird on them, and let's just like throw like the craziest thing you could think about into the mix and cause this shift unexpectedly. It's a surprise. Surprise, surprise. You remember that thing? What's going on TikTok? That thing cracked me up, y'all. Okay, so yeah, we're in this space of surprise, surprise in a way that is like actually happening, because the squares in Uranus are squaring fixed energy. So you have this shift in the bigger planets with Jupiter and Saturn in mutable energy. Then you have Uranus in a fixed energy. So the unexpected, the surprise elements that have come in or taking place are like actualized, like they're real. They're not going to change. So back to my example of Kamala Harris, that surprising shift isn't an off thing. It wasn't an accident. It's happening because it's going to be what is. So I'm excited. I love this moon. I think it's great. I think it's going to be one of those moons that we all look back on as a community, as a collective, and say, you know what? August, things happened. So let's see what the collective tarot message is for all of us with this full Aquarius moon, Sturgeon moon, blue moon, super moon, the sun. We love to see it. We were just talking about, Kisha's got on her red. I've got on my orange. This is Leo energy all day. The flag of excitement, I don't know, that the little girl has. But the sun's here, the Leo energy is here. So there's this optimism, there's a sense of joy, there's a sense of excitement about what's to come and the growth that's happening here. So I think this moon is really ushering in the abundance of what can be and the reminder that we're not here to have miserable experiences and existences. We're not here to be just ugh, and blah and hating everything and not getting anywhere. So this is also an aside for everyone that if y'all have been waiting, see 10 of Wands, if you guys have been feeling the pressure, feeling stress, feeling like, okay, when is the dam going to break? The dam is breaking. This is the end of all of that. Tens are the end. So the dam is breaking. The sun is coming out. The expansion is here. The growth is here. The next phase of like what you've been working so hard towards. And it's like, I can't, something's got to give. It's happening. The future, 3 of Wands. I mean, wow. This is all about the future. You see her, she's looking straight ahead. She's not looking behind her because there's nothing there anymore. We're looking ahead and we're taking action. And we're excited about that action. And you know why we're able to take action? Because we've done all the plans. We've done all the work. Now it's time to just step into that new phase, get out of this stress, get out of this oppression where things have felt so hard, so difficult, so stressful, and see that the sun is coming out for us. And I love that the bonus card there's a bonus card in this deck, and it's at the bottom. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. It's going to be fine. It's going to be more than fine. So, bless.
Love your enthusiasm. um, wow, that was definitely a generous amount of knowledge and awareness shared with our community to take in and integrate. And I think it's interesting with full moon is about like a culmination, right? Things being illuminated, the unseen being seen. Although with the full moon, it's only part of the moon that we're actually seeing, right? There's still this other part of it behind it, the retrospective part that is still hidden from us, right? But as the moon spins and turns, all phases come to light eventually. And to me, I find that very interesting because as like, the wheel of life begins to spin and turn just like the moon, and being so future oriented like the sign of Aquarius is, and its impact and priority of focusing on the collective. It's very interesting because this reminds me of a blog post when I was blogging like several years ago. And at this point, it's probably been maybe like 8 years or so, give or take. It feels like a solid 8, which I realize this is an 8 year. Oh shit. Well, this is a 8 year 2024. We're in the 8th month, and I think about 8 years ago, I wrote a blog post about. It was when I was actually in. It was a blog post referring to a time when I was a student of intuitive development, right? And we were practicing and exercising our psychic development skills. And so one of the assignments that I got was to look at the future and what the future held. Granted, I wrote this blog post about 8 years ago, but this actual meditation that my mentor guided us in was probably, I think, 20, let's see, I was probably about 28 years old. Yeah, so like 2008, something like that. Yeah, about 2008 or so. And it was very interesting because in the meditation, I was like, okay, what does the future of Earth or humanity looks like? The future of the US. And I kind of just saw like this aerial view of Earth, and it kind of zoomed in. I saw the US and things even getting like more I guess like just being able to zoom in. And it was interesting because what I saw and what came to mind was like the white male as the savior, right? The white man as a savior. And in that meditation, I came to the awareness that at some point, because of balance, right, the law of balance and reciprocity in the universe, that at some point the tables are going to turn. The symbol of the yin and yang, the white represents male or masculine energy, right? And then the black represents feminine energy. And I said at some point in the future, the tables, the karmic tables are going to have to turn. And the opposite of the white man is going to be the black woman. Right. And then it was weird because several years later, all of a sudden that movement of hashtag Black Girl Magic happened. And I was like, oh, well, I wasn't expecting it to look like this, but okay. But here we are. That was back in 2008, which if you did the math, that would make the number one. So it's like a new beginning. And then it was about 8 years ago, I realized when I wrote that blog post reflecting on that meditation. And so here we are in the 8 year, the eighth month, and having this political, battle that we're seeing, but also it's a revolution, right? It's that revolutionary spirit. It's new, it's provocative, right? It's it's something that's unexpected, but I mean, if you're a psychic, was it? Clearly for me, no, but I wasn't sure how it was going to look like. But here we are. Right, we have the tables have turned. It's so interesting to be able to have that insight from years and years ago, like over 10 years ago, and be able to see that come into fruition. Now what the future holds is something that we can still dictate, something we can still groom, something that we can still influence. And it's very interesting because part of us being able to tap into those gifts, that insight, that vision, right? And in the patriarchy, they may call it, he's a prophet or he's a visionary or he's innovative. And, the feminine based practices, you're a witch. Okay. Basically, you're a witch, you're a psychic, all this kind of stuff, whatever. It doesn't mean anything. All of those are just words. Okay. But at the end of, or at the bottom of those archetypes or ways of externalizing our identity, the foundation of it really is our ability to have foresight, okay? Something that comes from within us, something that is innate. We are naturally hardwired to be able to perceive things, not just on like a woo-woo, intuitive, spiritual level, but within our physical bodies, our nervous system, our skin, all of our connective tissue. We are the embodiment of divination. And it is through our nervous system where we perceive things through proprioception, interoception, which is our ability to sense and feel what's happening within our body, like when you get a gut feeling about something. And then exteroception, which is also our ability to use our senses in ways that are expansive and being able to tap into higher consciousness, because we only use a X amount of, certain percentage of our brain anyways. So that potential really lies in our ability to think outside the box and beyond the programmings that we have been inundated with to keep us playing small, especially mentally. Aquarius is an air sign, so it's all about the intellect. It's very cerebral, right? But air is also very expansive. And to be honest, as an air sign, it's also closest to God. So air is kind of like that bridge, right, between the higher realms of consciousness and this earthly realm. And so, with that being said, with in order for us to really tap into that potential, we have to learn to balance the hemispheres of our brain. And when we do that, the left and the right, as well as the front and the back, it's kind of interesting because when it comes down to thinking patterns of men versus women, we know that one might be more left brain, one might be more right brain, but then in another aspect or another perspective, the men typically think more with the frontal brain and also their reptilian brain and the instinctual brain in the back. So their lines of communication and thought tend to go more front and back. Women, we tend to go left and right. And when you combine the two together, it makes a center point that allows you to access the knowledge and wisdom of the whole brain as a vehicle vehicle, a portal that transports you to higher realms of consciousness. But because it's within your body, it also is a bridge that anchors that wisdom into your physicality, and therefore you're this instrument of divination, right? And I bring all that up to say that the best way for us to not only access that spiritual wisdom, that divine intelligence that knows more than we do, that orchestrates, the fundamental nature of everything and keeps things in balance, whether it seems that way or not, is to really be able to tap into our innate confidence, right? To step into the authentic expressions of who we are, not that which is forged or faked, not that which has to be performative, not that which has to be, groomed or, a facade of any sort until we step into that space. Our innate confidence comes from our ability to really embody all of the wisdom that we have and we possess naturally. And unfortunately, because of society and culture and generational, um, programming and influence, and also race and gender and education and status, those things like that, it has unfortunately squelched our abilities to really tap into that. But now is a time, right? To me, the stars. Mom was calling me. She always calls me during this meditation. But the star represents healing, right? Not only healing our mind and healing our bodies, but healing what's keeping us from really standing in our power, our truth, and being able to lead in a way that is authentic, being able to influence the world around us. And from that perspective, it's very interesting because when we allow ourselves to tap into our innate wisdom, our authentic confidence, and express that, then that is when we tune in to that which is our North Star, our destiny, right? Our path of destiny, which is going to look, very unique. And that's not something that you can copy and paste. That's not something that, everyone chooses to honor or to heed the call to. But for those who can get beyond the debilitating aspects of their ego that keep them playing small, keep them in a lack of confidence, keep them in isolation, keep them in a sense of like shame and guilt and low self-esteem and low self-worth, this is an opportunity for you to heal that part of you so that you can shine your inner light even brighter, not only for yourself to see the truth of who you are, but also for the collective to be that example and allow humanity to be moved by that presence. That's what I got for you. This channel, and it's like, whoo, and we're done. So I'm very excited about today.
Snaps. Beautiful. So hopefully this gets out to the masses and falls in some ears of people that haven't heard us yet. This is Arcana ATL. We do this for the full moon, the new moon, and the astrological seasons. We will be having Astro Reiki for Virgo season coming up. And so if you're interested, make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or watching on YouTube, you can also connect with us on Instagram and follow our individual pages as well. And with that, we will see you guys later this week for the maiden season. See ya.